When Captain Lira stepped onto the human recreation deck, she smelled it rich, sweet, and warm. A scent like molten comfort. She paused, her mandibles flexing with surprise as a chorus of delighted squeaks echoed from the far corner. A cluster of Vel'ren cubs, fluffy and wide-eyed, were gathered around a human. More specifically, their human. Specialist Jenna Hart, unofficial morale officer, unofficial chaos coordinator, and apparently unofficial diplomat to the youth of half the coalition species. Jenna grinned as she handed a steaming cup to a gray-furred cub, nearly bouncing out of his scales. "Careful, Pip. It's hot. Blow on it first." Pip obeyed for exactly 1 second before taking a heroic sip. His tail shot straight up, his pupils dilated. His entire soul seemed to ascend. "This is joy in liquid form," he announced, his voice cracking. Captain Lira blinked. "What is she feeding them?" "Hot chocolate," another cub chirped, "with cloud spheres." "Marshmallows," Jenna corrected, dropping a few into their tiny cup. The cub gasped as they began to melt. "See? They go all gooey and sweet." One cub immediately fainted. Lira rubbed her temples. Humans had a remarkable talent for creating substances that defied classification, dangerous, miraculous, or both. Jenna looked up, beaming. "Captain, want some?" Lira stepped closer. "Is this safe? For humans? Mentally? Emotionally? Societally?" Jenna shrugged. "Debatable. For aliens? Probably. I mean, most of the cups have had 6 cups, and no one's combusted." A cub zoomed past in a sugar-fueled blur. Lira reconsidered her definition of combust. Still, the scene was undeniably peaceful. The Vel'ren cubs adored Jenna, and Jenna treated them like particularly excitable pets mixed with dangerously honest friends. One of the smallest cubs tugged at Lyra's sleeve. "Captain, will you try? So we can bond as nestmates?" Jenna's face softened. Lyra's chest tightened. Refusing would be a diplomatic disaster. Accepting might kill her. She took the cup. She sipped. Warmth flooded her veins like a gentle star flare. Slow bloom of softness, comfort, and memories she didn't know she had. She exhaled. "This is acceptable. Acceptable!" cried Pip, scandalized. "It is the drink of unity. The nectar of friendship." "The calm down sugar monster," Jenna said, catching him by the scruff. "You're vibrating on a frequency only dogs can hear." But it was too late. The cubs had declared a new tradition. "Captain Lira," a cub shouted. "We must establish the pact of hot chocolate diplomacy." "Yeah," piped another. "Any species who shares the chocolate of peace can never wage war." "That's a lot to ask from a beverage," Jenna murmured, adding more marshmallows. But the cubs were committed. They gathered in a circle, cups raised reverently. Lira found her own hand raising as well, almost involuntarily. Pip began the ritual he had invented 5 minutes ago. "We gather," he intoned, under the sacred steam, "with squishy cloud spheres as witness." Another cub added, "We vow friendship, warmth, and occasional naps." A third threw in, "and to share chocolate whenever available." Jenna choked on her drink. "Guys, this is adorable, but your council is not going to ratify a... Captain Lira," Pip declared dramatically. "As commander, you must bring this treaty to the coalition." Lira stared at him, then at the cup in her hand, then at Jenna. Jenna whispered, "Honestly, it might work." They approved the snack exchange program after humans introduced popcorn. "That was because the Jarkon ambassador became legally addicted," Lira reminded her. "Exactly," Jenna said. "We've got precedent." Lira took another sip. The warmth spread deeper this time, softening, encouraging, convincing. "Very well," she said. "I will present this chocolate treaty to the Coalition Council." The cubs erupted in victorious screeches. Jenna raised a brow. "You're seriously doing it?" "Specialist Hart," Lira said. "I have participated in negotiations involving plasma border disputes, ancient territorial claims, and 3 wars almost triggered by translation errors. If hot chocolate ends conflict, I will accept it as a miracle." Pip fired finger guns. "Humans, weaponizing dessert since their dawn." Lira eyed him. "No more cups for you." "Too late," Pip announced, then sprinted up a wall and hung there like a caffeinated gecko. Jenna sighed. "Yeah. That one's going to crash hard in about 10 minutes. Lira sipped again, savoring the strange human sweetness. Perhaps peace didn't require grand speeches or treaties carved into crystal tablets. Perhaps sometimes peace tasted like chocolate and had marshmallows. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. We'll see you in the next video. Captain Lira expected that submitting the chocolate treaty would take weeks, perhaps months. Bureaucracy was a slow creature, large and lumbering, and prone to growling at anyone who tried to prod it. She did not expect what actually happened. Within 24 hours, every major coalition species had heard rumors. And those rumors spread the way only cup gossip could, fast, loud, and heavily exaggerated. By the next morning, the official headlines across multiple coalition news hubs read, "Humans discover weaponized peace substance. Vel'ren cubs demand chocolate rights." And my personal favorite, "Marshmallow diplomacy? Threat or miracle?" Captain Lira dragged a hand down her face as she entered the briefing chamber. Already present were 3 ambassadors, all staring at Jenna Hart with expressions ranging from curiosity to outright suspicion. Jenna, for her part, sat calmly at the round table, sipping her own hot chocolate like this was a casual brunch and not a political wildfire. Ambassador Ka of the Zathri clicked her claws. "Human Jenna Hart, is it true your species possesses a beverage that induces emotional compliance in juveniles?" Jenna just blinked. "It's cocoa powder, sugar, milk, and marshmallows. Not mind control." Ambassador Thal of the Jirkan swiveled an eye stalk toward her. "We have witnessed the Vel'ren cubs chanting hymns in your honor." "That was their idea," Jenna protested. "I can't help it if they think marshmallows are magic." "They float," Ruka hissed, as if that alone proved sorcery. Lira cleared her throat. "Ambassadors, the point of this meeting is simple. The cubs believe that the sharing of hot chocolate builds trust and unity," Thal finished. "Yes. We have received 37 formal petitions from the Vel'ren youth councils demanding hot chocolate equality." Jenna whispered, "They made youth councils?" "They formed them last night," Lira said. "Apparently the sugar helped them organize." The ambassadors exchanged looks. Then, unexpectedly, Ambassador RRKA leaned forward. "Human Jenna. May we sample the beverage?" Jenna brightened. "Oh, yes, of course." "I brought a thermos." She produced the battered silver container as though unveiling a relic of sacred power. The ambassadors stared at it like it might explode. In fairness, hot chocolate had exploded on occasion, but only when Jenna forgot the lid. Jenna poured carefully, placing steaming cups before each ambassador. Ruka sniffed hers, her nostrils flared. She lifted the cup. She sipped. Her crest shot straight up. "Oh, stars," she whispered. "It tastes like soft warmth." Thal trembled. "It reminds me of the heat incubators of my childhood." The third ambassador, Moroten of the Crystalline Life, was the last to taste it. Liquid beverages were uncommon for their kind, but Moroten dutifully touched the cup's edge, letting the steam condense along her crystalline ridges. A faint golden glow pulsed across her form. "This," she said, her voice harmonizing, "is pleasant." Jenna blinked. "Is that a good glow?" "It is the glow of nostalgic contentment," Moroten replied serenely. Lira exhaled. "So, you see why the cubs want it." Thal rotated both eye stalks toward her. "Captain, with respect, this beverage, if shared across species, could become a powerful cultural bridge." Ruka added, "Our juvenile academies are always seeking interspecies bonding programs. This could be ideal," Moroten finished. "Emotionally stabilizing, comforting, simple, effective." Jenna raised both brows. "So, are you saying?" Thal sighed dramatically. "Yes, human Jenna, we support the chocolate treaty." RRKA drummed her claws eagerly. "We must construct distribution protocols. Standardize serving temperatures," Moroten agreed. "Prepare marshmallow supplies galaxy-wide," Thal said. Jenna's jaw dropped. "Oh my gosh, marshmallow logistics." "Marshmallow diplomats." Lyra pinched the bridge of her nose. "Please don't call them that. They'll put it on uniforms." Too late. Jenna was already imagining it. The meeting continued for an hour. Temperature charts, dietary adaptations, cross-cultural allergen screenings, marshmallow size regulations. The Jirkan preferred tiny ones. The Zathri insisted on giant ones. Finally, as the formal vote concluded, the Coalition Council approved the first document in history titled Treaty of Cocoa-Based Peace Initiatives. It was, to Lira's astonishment, unanimous. As the ambassadors left, glowing, humming, and chirping contentedly, Jenna bumped her shoulder lightly against Lira's. "We actually did it!" "No," Lira said. "The Cubs did it." "You simply provided the catalyst," Jenna grinned. "Humans do love our catalysts." Lira allowed herself a rare smile. Peace, it seemed, could be brewed. And served warm. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this story about intergalactic sweet treats and diplomacy, hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the final frontier. See you next time. Chaos arrived the next day, riding on tiny paws. Captain Lira had anticipated excitement from the Vel'ren Cubs once the Treaty of Cocoa-based peace initiatives was officially announced. She had not, however, anticipated a full-scale celebratory invasion of the human deck. The Cubs swarmed like fluffy meteors, bouncing off walls, beds, and chairs. Chattering, singing, attempting to harmonize, failing, loudly, Pip found Lira first. He shot toward her at a speed that violated at least 3 ship safety regulations and launched himself onto her shoulder. "Captain! Captain! We have news!" "Pip," Lira said, catching him by the scruff. "You are vibrating again." "I am vibrating with diplomatic pride." Behind him, a chorus of Cubs cheered. Some held hastily painted signs. "Long live hot chocolate! Unity through yum! Marshmallows for all species." One particularly tiny cub carried a sign that simply read, "Choc Love." Lira inhaled. "Where is human heart?" "I thought she was supervising." As if summoned by destiny and noise, Jenna appeared, her hair a mess, face dusted with cocoa powder, and shirt smeared with marshmallow streaks. "I turned around for 5 seconds, Jenna said breathlessly. 5 seconds, and they declared today a galaxy-wide celebration of warm sweetness. Is that officially recognized? It is now, Jenna sighed. They filed the paperwork. Of course they had. Before Lira could respond, a chime echoed through the corridor, ship-wide, authoritative. "Attention crew. The Coalition requests a live transmission regarding the treaty implementation." Jenna groaned. "They want a press briefing already?" "They want you," Lira clarified. "You are the primary human chocolate liaison. That's not a real job title." "It is now," Lira said. "They finalized it 5 hours ago." Jenna face-palmed. "Do I get a badge?" Pip gasped. "Can we design the badge?" "No," Lira snapped immediately. "Yes," Jenna said at the same time, then reconsidered. "Okay, maybe not." The transmission hub filled with dozens of holographic feeds ambassadors. Journalists, curious citizens, and at least 3 groups of Cubs who had hacked their academy's communication system. A lithe official adjusted her crystalline ridges. "Human Jenna Hart, the Coalition requests clarification on marshmallow handling protocols. Are they required to float?" Another asked nervously. Jenna blinked. That's just how they work in hot liquids." A dozen species murmured in awe as if Jenna had described advanced warp engineering. Ambassador Thal's eye stalks focused on Jenna. "Human Heart, we have received inquiries from 6 worlds regarding cacao crop limitations. Can humans produce more?" Jenna hesitated. "Well, chocolate comes from a plant that needs specific climate conditions. We can export it, but..." Pip shoved into the frame, holding what was clearly a badly drawn diagram titled, "How to Grow Chocolate." "I have solutions," Pip declared proudly. "No," Lira muttered. "No, you do not." Jenna gently pulled him aside. "Let me handle this, buddy." The briefing continued questions about distribution fairness, ceremonial uses, and whether marshmallows could be used as flotation devices in emergencies, which they could not. Then Ambassador RRKA leaned closer, eyes gleaming. "Human Heart," she said, "we have reviewed historical data. Foods often become cultural symbols between species. Is hot chocolate intended as a unifying ritual between humans and the Coalition?" Jenna considered her words carefully. "It's just something warm humans share on cold days," she said finally. "Something that makes people feel cared for. And if that can help bridge species, then yeah. I guess it's ours to share." Silence fell. Then every ambassador simultaneously nodded. A ritual of warmth, a cultural comfort, a bond offering, a beverage of harmony. Even, Lira felt the weight of the moment. The Coalition Council announced a formal ceremony to commemorate the treaty, complete with full diplomatic pageantry, cultural performances, and to Lira's dismay, An entire marshmallow presentation segment. Jenna, now officially titled Chief Cocoa Ambassador, was asked to prepare the first ceremonial batch. She stood in the galley, her hair tied up, stirring a massive vat of chocolate with a ladle taller than some cubs. Lira watched, arms folded. "Are you ready?" "As ready as anyone can be," Jenna said. "Do you think this is really going to matter? A drink? A treat? Is it enough?" Lira placed a hand on her shoulder. "Specialist Hart? Sometimes peace is built on grand negotiations, other times." She gestured to the pot. "A warm cup shared between species is enough to shift the galaxy." Jenna smiled softly. Pip popped up between them. "I am ready for destiny." "You're not part of the ceremony," Lira reminded him. "I am emotionally part of everything." Lira sighed. "Unfortunately." "That is true." As Jenna lifted the ladle, ready to serve the first cup to the entire coalition, Lira felt something unprecedented. Hope. Warm. Sweet. Unexpected. Just like hot chocolate. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. See you in the next video. The ceremony of first sharing was supposed to be dignified, regal, calm. It was none of those things. I'm Captain Lira, and I stood behind the main podium, watching thousands of beings fill the grand hall. Representatives, civilians, cubs, and even a few species that were basically colonies of semi-sentient organisms. Banners fluttered overhead, not with symbols of war, but with steaming cups and stylized marshmallows. The coalition had embraced the hot chocolate theme so aggressively that even the banners of notorious war factions had been redesigned to look cozy. Jenna, the human responsible for all this, arrived at my side. She was wearing her new ceremonial sash, a soft brown fabric embroidered with little white marshmallows that sparkled under the hall lights. "You look ridiculous," I whispered. "You say that," she replied, but 3 ambassadors cried when they saw it. "That is what concerns me," I admitted. Just then my young charge, Pip, bounded up to us. He was wearing his self-crafted Deputy Marshmallow Officer badge, made from cardboard and far too much glitter. "I am ready for my role," he declared. "You have no role," I reminded him. He ignored this. "I have been rehearsing my bows." Jenna just patted his head. "Yes, Pip, they're very bow-why." He practically radiated pride. Then the hall dimmed. A hush spread across the thousands gathered. The coalition speaker, an imposing, 4-armed Karsic elder whose voice usually carried the gravity of law and war, stepped forward. Today, he looked like a man about to announce dessert. "Honored species of the galaxy," he boomed. "We gather to mark a new era, one of warmth, unity, and sweetness. Today we commemorate the Treaty of Cocoa-based peace initiatives." The crowd applauded. Some cheered, a few even sobbed. A Vel'ren cub let out an emotional howl. "And now," the speaker continued, "the first ceremonial cup shall be shared by human Jenna Hart, our chief Cocoa Ambassador and Captain Lira of the Vel'ren Armada, whose young initiated this very movement." I stiffened. "They did WHAT?" Jenna just grinned at me. "Surprise! They nominated you. You could have warned me," I hissed. "I was afraid you'd run." "Accurate," I muttered. "But I stepped forward anyway, that's what a captain does." Jenna joined me, ladle in hand, as we approached the ornate cauldron at the center of the hall. It was filled with gallons of perfectly blended hot chocolate, and the aroma was incredible. Half the room sighed in bliss. Everything was going smoothly. Too smoothly. Just as Jenna dipped the ladle into the chocolate, a sudden shriek pierced the hall. Every head turned. It was Pip, sprinting down the aisle, his paws skidding dramatically across the polished floor. "I must perform the marshmallow blessing." I whispered to Jenna, What blessing?" She whispered back, "I didn't teach him anything." Pip leaped onto the platform, holding a single giant marshmallow above his head like a holy relic. The crowd gasped. "What is happening?" The speaker blinked. Pip puffed out his tiny chest. "It is tradition that the first cup receives a sacred marshmallow of destiny." I hissed, "Pip, you invented this 10 seconds ago." He shot back. "Traditions have to start somewhere." Before anyone could stop him, he tossed the marshmallow into the cauldron. Unfortunately, the marshmallow was too big. It hit the surface with a loud splorp and promptly displaced about 2 liters of molten chocolate. The splash arced high into the air. My instincts screamed, "Take cover!" But it was too late. Hot chocolate rained down like a cocoa monsoon. The front rows were drenched. 2 ambassadors fainted from the overwhelming aroma. Jenna wiped chocolate from her face. Okay, nobody panic. A drenched ambassador raised a hand. Do we drink this? Is this part of the ritual? Jenna froze for a second, then declared, It absolutely is. The crowd roared in approval. Pip pumped a paw in victory. I stared at the sticky chaos. We have lost control. We never had control, Jenna said, laughing. But look at them. And she was right. Every species, every representative, every cub was now laughing, cheering, and scooping splatters of chocolate off their clothes. The hall radiated pure joy. Once the chaos settled, Jenna finally filled 2 proper cups and handed one to me. Ready? She asked softly. I looked at the crowd, still buzzing with cocoa-fueled camaraderie. Yes, I said. Let us begin. We raised our cups together, and the hall erupted in applause. 1 sip shared by a human and a Vel'ren captain marked the official, peaceful union of dozens of species, warm, sweet, simple. Perched proudly on the podium, Pip whispered, I did amazing. I sighed. You nearly drowned 3 ambassadors. In peace. He declared. I couldn't help it, I laughed. Jenna did too. And so did the galaxy. Thanks for watching. The aftermath of the ceremony of first sharing was sticky. Captain Lira had never seen diplomats sparkle, drip, and laugh all at once, but that was the new normal. Jenna wiped chocolate off her ceremonial sash. I think we overachieved. Pip, still bouncing with an energy that should have violated multiple laws of physics, nodded solemnly. I brought joy. I brought destiny. I brought marshmallow justice. Lira pinched the bridge of her mandibles. And you nearly triggered an interstellar incident. Incident? No. Diplomacy. Pip corrected. Human heart dialogue diplomacy, Jenna sighed. Somehow, that seems accurate. Within hours, the cocoa ripple effect was felt across the galaxy. Reports streamed in. The Jirkan implemented morning cocoa sessions in their youth academies. The Zathri declared a week of marshmallow appreciation to honor unity. Even the stoic Lithe colonies admitted to an increase in cooperative behavior. Coalition leadership was baffled but pleased. Ambassador Rurka sent a formal message. The effects of the chocolate treaty exceed expectations. Juveniles exhibit improved cross-species communication. Emotional volatility is reduced. Happiness is measurable, Jenna whispered to Lira. We accidentally created universal child therapy. Lira smirked. Accidental or not, it works. The Galactic press went wild. News outlets dubbed it everything from hot chocolate, the new Galactic peacekeeper, to marshmallow diplomacy. Sweetening relations since now, one even said. Humans weaponize dessert. Jenna laughed. I've never been called a weapon before. Pip puffed up proudly. I am the first marshmallow general. Stop, Lira groaned, though a small smile tugged at her mandibles. After the first week of cocoa diplomacy, Lira found herself back in the human recreation deck. This time, it was quiet. Most of the cubs were napping off their sugar-induced energy spikes. Jenna sat cross-legged on the floor, stirring a fresh cup of hot chocolate. Captain, she said softly, can you believe this? The galaxy united by cocoa? Lira took a slow sip from her own cup. It was warm, sweet, and comforting. A simple reminder that not every solution required weapons or wars. Sometimes a little sweetness was enough. I can believe it, Lira admitted. It's not something I expected, but perhaps the galaxy needed this. Peace doesn't always come from treaties or fleets. Sometimes it comes from something humans make in a pot, Jenna smiled. Exactly. We humans, we share warmth. And apparently chocolate. And marshmallows. Lira raised an eyebrow. Marshmallows, yes. That seems to be the key. Pip, who had somehow appeared behind them, waved a tiny paw. I told you. Marshmallow diplomacy works. Soon, coalition leaders requested formal training sessions led by human specialists in culinary diplomacy. Humans were suddenly in demand for their ability to foster peace with food, drinks, and strange rituals. Jenna looked at Lira. Think this will last? Lira considered it. Peace is always fragile, but hope, warmth. Laughter shared over cocoa? That might just endure longer than any weapon, Jenna grinned. Then I guess we keep making chocolate, agreed, Lira said. And we keep these cubs out of major ceremonies. Mostly. Pip saluted. No promises. Lira couldn't help but laugh. For the first time in decades, diplomacy felt joyful. From that day on, hot chocolate became a symbol of trust and warmth across the stars. Coalition envoys traveled with thermoses. Youth councils held cocoa socials. Even hardened veterans found themselves sipping, sharing, and inexplicably smiling. Captain Lira often watched from the bridge, sipping her own cup. The galaxy was still vast and unpredictable. But somewhere, deep down, she knew a tiny victory had been won, one cup, one marshmallow, one small act of sweetness at a time. Pip sat beside her, tail twitching. We saved the galaxy, Lira chuckled. Yes, Pip, in a very sticky, very sweet way. We did. The aroma of chocolate, sugar, and hope lingered across the galaxy, a reminder that peace could be as simple as a warm cup shared in good company. And somehow, that felt perfect. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.